full swing Nag Panchami event preps were going on, and I just came like one day before, and it was too overwhelming for me. That I did shoot a few videos. So I thought I'll put something on YouTube, but I never did. And then anyway, so I can show you some footage now. So let me recap quickly a little bit about my Naga Panchami experience. I shifted from Coimbatore to Chikkaballapur, which is Chikkaballapur is such a small place, and I am this urban character. I born and brought up in Bombay, and Coimbatore was probably, we did live in Pune for some time, and I think at the time when we stayed in Pune it was much smaller. So Coimbatore is kind of a little smaller city, and then Chikkaballapur is a very different level. And I am not even in the proper city of Chikkaballapur, which is great because there is nothing in these kind of small cities for which you would actually shift there. So I anyway wanted to be closer to this Adiyogi, so I am somewhere nearby. And of course I am going to volunteer at Adiyogi, which is also something I really enjoy. More than enjoy, I feel it really adds to my life, so it's like a good investment going on in myself and my life. So yeah, this cabinet of Coimbatore has just reached. It came yesterday, and I was hoping to actually shoot a video last Monday because Nag Panchami was there, and I was at Adiyogi for Nag Panchami, and this huge event had happened. And but I was very overwhelmed actually because I shifted and all, and you know how this whole mover and packer thing is, it becomes a large task. And then I drove down from Coimbatore to here. My car was like one mini truck. It had 2 cycles, 1 mattress, and a bunch of other small things. So that itself was an experience. And then I came to Adiyogi, and full swing Nag Panchami event preps were going on, and I just came like one day before, and it was too overwhelming for me. That you know how if you've been to Isha events, which are these large scale ones, everything is just tizzy kind of. And Nag Panchami was at a larger scale than I anticipated actually. There were all these stalls and all. They had 2 Naga Pujas, which were Ashleshbali Pooja and Naga Mandala, and I had absolutely no idea of what this would entail. Both the pujas actually, the Ashleshbali Pooja was a little bit more preparatory in nature, and it was it had this huge rangoli to start with, and the priests, the pujaris were all wearing brightly colored clothes, which was a little bit conspicuous because generally why would pujaris dress like that? No, all of them in almost clashing bright shades. And there was the music was also very interesting of those pujas. And then of course that went on for 1.5 hours or so. And then there was another very large rangoli that was made, and a special mandapam was created just in front of the Naga temple, and that was the Naga Mandala Pooja. That is, for that Sadhguru also came. And the whole VIP sitting and passes and all of that stuff happened over there. And that one was a massive it was like a kaleidoscope. It's like it was so different from expected, and at least within the Isha event no context was given of what to expect from it. So people may have expected something within the traditional norm, what the other pujas you have seen. We would expect something on those lines, as Sadhguru keeps saying, right, that we keep, it's a memory that dictates a lot of experiences. And so for a lot of people actually they were not able to relate to that puja at all because it was so massively different from any other puja one would have seen. So I think a lot of us had to go back, and then I started reading up on it and saying, what was this? And then it's kind of started, settling into my mind as to what exactly. It's very different. It's very, very different, and typically this would happen in they're calling them Naga Banas. I think it's like Nag 1. Basically fields within villages and all, they leave some field area completely raw. They just leave it wild to grow however it wants to grow. That is like a sacred grove of sorts, and they leave this area for snakes, it seems. And then in those areas hold this Naga Mandala Pooja, which is a huge night-long affair where it has a huge rangoli. Maybe it has puja specific elements as well, but it's more of a dance and a music event where they are depicting the mating of snakes. So there is one male snake, and then there are these other female snakes, and almost a jugalbandi of sorts. The jugalbandi they call when two different musicians start singing together and how they kind of synchronize. That kind of jugalbandi starts happening with these people, and I think that male snake is somewhat possessed only. So it's just massively fascinating. It's a real spectacle, but then it goes on and on for hours, and I think it would require something different from us to really get engrossed, and the meditation would only have to happen. Otherwise, if you keep your logical mind on, it will not make any sense. The entire live stream is still online on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen it, do see it at least a little bit. It is such a fascinating, so unexpected. If someone says snake worship, for me, this is not what would come to my mind at all before this event. People keep talking about India being a land of snake charmers. So we are thinking of some beggarly fellow sitting in the street side corner having that cane box, with a snake. And he will do that Nagin music, and that snake will gyrate, and people will throw a few pennies to him, and that's what that comes to my mind. I would not think of so much color, so much dazzle, rangolis, artwork, fruits, and just so luxuriant almost. Such and music and dance. I would not think of this when I think of snake worship. So this in that sense was mind-blowing actually. Though of course I should tell you, on that day itself I was absolutely overwhelmed because I had this whole shift. But after I slept, after the Nag Panchami event got over and I slept off, and next day I did my practices, and finally things settled in, and I felt really positive about the whole thing. It's almost like, it was like if you went to, for example, a safari, and you were trying to spot animals, and you take a binocular to look at something in detail, and you pick it up and you look through it and you get a kaleidoscope. That's how I found this Naga Pooja. It was a kaleidoscope. You think you will get the normal meditation, the clarity of mind, all that will happen, but it's more like a kaleidoscope. I just found it extremely fascinating, and I feel this is just the beginning, because Sadhguru did mention that the Naga temple and that Nag path will probably happen, and I'm extremely excited to see how this develops, because if this is the beginning, this is going to be very different from what we anticipated. And it made me think about the fact that I have mentioned it before, that when I first went to Isha Yoga Center, the only Dhyanlingam was there were no other temples. So the whole ambience was a certain way, because how Dhyanlingam is, it is silent, it has no rituals, it is it is one way. And then the Devi temple came, and the entire ambience has changed because it's full of rituals. You have these Bhairangini Maas in red. There's fire burning. It's just a whole different ambience inside. And if you see the people also, right, some of these Devi Bhakts which are there, they're a little bit different. Maybe the Naga temple will develop into something like that. We may have some different kind of people taking care of it. I don't know. It's very fascinating.